release fiery words of poetry, bringing edification and transforming lives. I am Qwaku Agyeman, the poet. And I ride on the wings of spoken word poetry to edify, transform, and to reach the world with the gospel of Christ. And I believe an edifying poetry is no poetry at all. Falando saya ikifalaka zuni kutele megaba rendo kosindi kitalabatus ubros kivandi kitandava amale Jesus uvandi kutalaka badias. Hosanna in the highest, let our King be lifted up. Despite the fact that Thomas Edison is often credited with developing the light bulb, he succeeded only after 1,000 futile attempts. But I know a God who formed the earth on the foundation of righteous commands, a God whose word has electromagnetic qualities. He called forth light at his first and only attempt, and it materialized instantly. He had a photoelectric effect with his voice. What a God. Professors of astronomy are incapable of explaining his creativity. Even if I study a star, that star, he will lead me straight to him. Ask the wise man. He's not a man, yet he entered into the jurisdiction of man to operate the first ever food delivery service. Before men engaged the frontal cortex in convergent and divergent thinking to develop the idea of Uber Eats and both food, I know a God who sent food to his prophet via aerial transportation. What a God. All the strongest men combined cannot lift him up. Even 1,000 Samsons can attempt, but they too will fail woefully. Yet magnify his name, give him words of adoration from a pure heart, escaping from lips of reverence, and he will float softly like autumn leaves. All the engineers of the Titanic could not save the ship from sinking, but I know a God who speaks the language of storms, a God who understands the language of every crisis. With one command, he calmed the furious storm that threatened to destroy his boat. What a God. I know a God is more reliable than Ghana fire service. I mean, ask the 3 Hebrew boys how he quenched the fiery furnace's devouring ability without using a fire extinguisher. What a God. Lord, you made Moses blissful because you are too faithful. You turned the red light into green so they could traverse on dry ground because you made a way. I am the poet, but you are bigger than poetry. The most well-constructed metaphor cannot describe you well enough because you are bigger than literature. You break all the rules of grammar because you are the author of English. You said, before Abraham was, I am. You exist outside of space and time. Your divinity we cannot define. From your throne you will never resign. We are products of your intelligent design. You are the invisible God, yet your beauty in our lives is visible. You give breath to all living things, yet you never run out of breath. You see wider than an eagle, you watch over us better than a CCTV. Humanity cannot completely comprehend the divinity of Jesus. I mean, explain to me how he took his own life, yet is not guilty of suicide. How he walked on water without an anchor. How he healed the sick with no medical school background. How he fed the multitude without owning a bakery. How he turned water into wine without a laboratory. What a God. Who can enter into the presence of the uncreated creator without feeling the weight of his power? Who can stand before the Legim Elohim and not bow in obeisance? Who can come before his preeminence and not stand in awe of him? There's power that surpasses power. Power more powerful than power itself. The power of Jesus. everything and fixes them up like an orthopedic. He's the jack of all trades, master of all. His value does not depreciate like the city. His tenure does not expire like Mahama. He reigns forever. He reigns forever. He reigns forever. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty, who is an embodiment of diversity. The near mention of his identity throws principalities and powers into a state of perplexity as they fear his brutality. He is enthroned in royalty, so let's seize this opportunity to bow in loyalty and celebrate his majesty. Casting crowns, lifting hands, bow in hearts. I will sing of the goodness of Christ. Listen, if Jesus were a footballer, he would have 8 Ballon d'Ors because he's an epitome of mercy. If Jesus were a footballer, he would have 8 Ballon d'Ors because he's an epitome of mercy. Even though he's greater than mercy.